Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, class. This is Professor Coyote, welcoming to our new series I have been looking forward to for quite some time, I tell you what. You might have seen a couple of the things flashing. This is going to be a new Paradox game. Sort of. It's a new Paradox game in that they've been helping publish it. But this is actually done by Harebrained Schemes, the company that brought you the great Shadowrun games. Because, as you might have even seen from that logo, and I'm going to shut up as soon as this intro comes, we're going to be a world that I've had quite a bit of experience in. It's, and I'll talk about it now things are starting. I love this opening too. Yes, class. Welcome to Battletech. Like I said, this is a game that I have been waiting for a couple of years now, once Harebrained did the Kickstarter. I Kickstarted this. Unfortunately, I didn't put in enough money to do the beta, which is why you didn't get to see me actually playing any of the beta beforehand. I would have liked to. I really would have liked to in order to give you some of that. But still, it's out now. It's out as of today, and even though I was sick, I knew I had to at least get this opening batch recorded on launch day. Yes, so welcome to Battletech. For those of you who don't know Battletech, this game line has been running longer than Shadowrun for those of you FOSSA fans. This has been running since about the mid-'80s. This is one of the original... I wouldn't say one of the original war games, but it's definitely an original skirmish kind of game. Of battle mechs, little tiny battle mechs, you know, that you go pew 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 pew, you roll some dice and explode things, and you know. But the world of Battletech is long and diverse. See, that was always FOSSA's hallmarks. The worlds it created, they were diverse, they had a huge backstory that evolved with time. Those of you who know Shadowrun, which is a very love of mine in the RPG sphere, they had a meta plot running well on 20 years, even going a little bit further from when they started going out of FOSSA. I mean, that's kind of what killed a lot of that meta plot, was having to go into different hands. But Battletech was the same. It had a long-running storyline, starting around what this is actually starting. It's going to be starting about the same year, about 3025. What you saw in the opening was actually a very, very brief. So you saw, basically the Battletech takes place in a world much like Earth, or should I say much like our own, because it branches out from Earth. Humanity advances, leaps and bounds over the next 500 to 600 years. We invent FTL drive, we invent hyperpulse generators that gets our communications going over the vast expanse of space that we settle. And, you know, as humanity is wont to do, it does break into separate, different houses, you know, chunks of space that they claim for their own. But then they come together to form the Star League. Centered around Terra. And it was a way to just essentially hand the breadth of humanity into one general thing. And then, of course, as it's wont to do, it all falls apart. As you saw in there, the Camerons, who were the traditional first lords of the Star League, got hot and heavy of themselves, became total douchebags, and then states in the periphery, which is actually where this game is going to be taking place, split off, did their own things, and the houses and the Star League didn't like that, so they tried buckling under that. And then just stuff happened. The houses started going off on each other. It fell apart. And that leads to about where we are. 3025. Things have slid in the world. Humanity kind of regressed a little bit. I mean, yeah, it's still high tech. But, for instance, the big cool thing that people fight with are battle mechs, but nobody knows how to build them anymore. All they know is how to maintain them, and fix them and make things for them, but they don't know how to make the actual mechs. Most of the mechs, as of 3025, are hundreds of years old, but they're very well made, obviously. Or at least humanity has maintained enough knowledge to be able to maintain them, because they're the big things. And that, in a way, basically the world of Battletech it's kind of and this is, I think, why Paradox liked this so much, and that's why they threw money into it, it's basically, well, I hate to use the phrase Game of Thrones in space, but it kind of is. Because you have these different houses that fight against each other for control over space, over worlds, over resources. And the succession wars are all about which house wanted to succeed as first lord of the Star League. Everybody wanted to be the top dog, and the other ones didn't want them to be. And meanwhile, the periphery states are all like, whatever. And then piracy is rampant, and mercenaries make top sea bills because they go from one house to another. One thing they didn't touch on this, which I think is going to be, it's actually showing their plans. What I have heard is that as long as this makes a lot of money, and it made bank for the Kickstarter. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make bank now, but as long as they make good sales, Harebrained is planning on doing several DLCs and or sequels. I'd say about like the akin of Dragonborn. Not Dragonborn, the sort of sequels they did with Shadowrun. Where they're going to explore different factions and that kind of thing. And one thing that like I said, that was kind of missing out of here, that I see them easily doing. They didn't show one thing that happened during the Great Succession Wars, and that is the exodus of Kerensky. Now, for those of you who don't know Battletech lore, Alexander Kerensky, yes, named after that Alexander Kerensky, if you know your European history, he was basically the general of the Star League. But he saw that things were going terrible. About that time that you saw that everything fell apart there in the opening cinematic. So he took a whole bunch of his dudes, several battalions of the Star League, and they up and left for a space heretofore unknown. Now, advance about a bazillion years, and they will come back. Now this is 3025, so they come back in about, I think it's 40 years, 40 or 50 years. They come back as the clans. So that's what I mean, is that I think we've still got... That's definitely something that they might advance in. Or they might focus a little bit more on some succession wars. We'll see. I look forward to that. I like the clans. I also am a very proud scion of House Merrick, but that's not going to have to end up being here for right now. We, as Battletech, we are going to be playing a mercenary on the periphery. And much like of the original MechWarrior game, like the very, 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 very old one, way back in the EGA days, where you were a mercenary team going from periphery states and going from house to house. So, with all of that out of the way, all the history, all the baggage, let's get to playing, shall we? Now, you notice I already had to do, I started off, yes, they go your account info, and you can change your heraldry. This is so you can play multiplayer, and also what your general group is going to be. When you first boot the game, excuse me, as I said, I'm a little sick, you get to make this decision of what you want your coloring to be, and your herald, and your name. Of course, I'm going by Professor Coyote, and I've got the heraldry of this really cool one here. That's about the best I can do out of this one that looks like a coyote. Because, of course, I'm not going to let you have the clan ones. I would love to have Clan Coyote. So we're going to go with this one for right now. I did sort of a desert theme. Ironically, this is actually the same theme I've done for a 40k army a long time ago. So we're just going to get out of that. So yeah, they have you start at the moment you boot up. I wanted to make sure that this ran well, because there is some people saying on the day one, making some complaints that this game doesn't run well for them. And I'm hoping it runs well for me. When I wasn't taping, it ran well for me. I did just a skirmish or two. So hopefully this goes. So let's start our campaign, shall we? Yes, citizenship of the Compelling Confederation is a point of pride to many, as it must be earned through service to the state. Okay, come on. You can load anytime you want. Okay. That did go fine for me to begin with. I am running this on a gaming laptop that's about a year old, so hopefully the rendering is going fine. There we go. So it might be a bit slow, as I said. It's a bit of a, we'll go for there. I will try to talk what I can. I mean, the opening did fine, so that's good. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Doop-de-doo. But yeah, I played Battletech off and on for a long time. I mean, I'm more versed than Shadowrun. I've actually got a friend who is, so steeped in this stuff. Like, to the point where he had his own headcanon for certain timelines that he refused to play when MechWarrior came out with the little cliques after they got bought out by WizKids. It's not that he didn't like the game, it's just that the storyline that changed was so, to him. And that's the way it goes, right? I can understand if Shadowrun did something like that, I'd probably be all pissy too, but so far, so good on that. Alright.
I am Kamea of House Arano, High Lady of the Oregon Reach, Protector of Coromadir, and the Sword of Restoration. But I am not a hero, no matter what the stories say. A hero would have sacrificed more, compromised less. A hero would have done better. You know this, of course. You were there. My father used to tell me stories about the ancient times. about the Star League, a golden age of prosperity, upheld by the great mech warriors of old, guardians of the innocent, protectors of the peace. I always dreamed of following in their footsteps. I was too young to see the truth of things. After all, it wasn't heroism or a noble cause that won me the throne. It was hiring a mercenary, skilled enough, perhaps ruthless enough, to carry the day. Hiring you. I still don't know if you fought for honor or for the thrill of it, for belief in my cause, or just in my money. But whether it was your noble heart or mercenary mind, your actions gave us hope. That makes you a hero in the eyes of history. Whether you believe it, that's up to you.
All right, and yes, this is our plotline. We are just a mercenary company that is going to be falling in with a minor house and trying to help her out. Welcome to the Argurian Reach. The Argurian Reach is a small world in the Rimworld periphery, and I like these. This is anytime you see in this game a orange text, it gives you click it or hover over it, and it shows you what it means in the greater world. So like the Rimworld periphery. The periphery is a region of space bordering and surrounding the inner sphere. The area directly opposite to the galactic core is known as the Rimworld periphery. The Rimworld periphery is home to major state churches, the Magistracy of Canopus, the Taurian Concordian, and the Oregon Coalition, as well as a large number of independent worlds. And see, this is why I understand why they decided to do a periphery, for at least this first one. Because people are so tied to their houses that they have their kind of allegiance to when they play this game, that in order to get you to put you right into that for somebody who may not have played Battletech before, no, that probably wouldn't have been the best thing to do. I mean, it's probably best to put you into one of these periphery states that they've never really done much about, and there are enough independent stuff that you can basically be a good enough mercenary to go out and to mess around with, that you're not changing the world. The Argurian Reach, a region of space that lies at the outskirts of the war-resting colonized inner sphere, which of course is the region of space with about 500 light years of Terra. The area is divided between 5 successor states. That's the Federated Suns, the Capellan Confederation, the Free World State, the Draconis Combine, and Liao is the Capellan Confederacy. There we are. They're sometimes known as a 6th state, but that actually doesn't come out until later. Because of this time, it's 3025. It is home to an Augurian coalition, interstellar space, bordering Capellan and Taurian space, growing out of a trade partnership in the mid-29th century. The coalition was formally established by High Lady Corina Arano. The Arano family. And there you are. For 3 generations of the House Arano, the Oregon Coalition has maintained a relatively peaceful corner of the periphery. It is here your story begins. Now, I also like this because this kind of, basically, the Battletech world, aside from the computer games, has always been broken down into 2 main games. There's Battletech itself, which is the little war game where you actually go out and play with the mechs and do your dice rolls and blow things up. And Mech Warrior, the RPG, where you essentially create a specific character, a Mech Warrior, or a supporting character. Yeah, like anyone ever makes a non-Mech Warrior, because it's like making a non-Jedi in a Star Wars game. Where you're going out there. Mech Warrior, actually, it's an interesting thing on that the Mech Warrior RPG kind of allowed you to play Battletech with a plot line. You can always play Battletech with a bit of a plot line, but by adding Mech Warrior, you can do the stuff, the politics and stuff outside of it, Or you could blend it seamlessly. You could do some of the politics and then play Battletech for the when you actually have a battle, and then come back and do the RPG stuff. So I really like that they do this. That they have you come into this full-on make up your character for this game. Right, so your family came to the Reach from, well, you can be from any of the five. You can be the Draconis, the Free Worlds League, Federated Suns, Lyran, and the Capellan. Okay. And then, or some of the successors, I'm sorry, not successor states, the periphery states. These periphery states, these are the ones that kind of broke off and kind of started some of the Star League's downfall, because they were off trying to fight these, because a lot of periphery states were often pirate states that broke off from the inner sphere and said, screw you guys, we're doing our own thing. Like, this is the Rimworld periphery in general, and the D periphery, which is the other side. And that's this is well where they will talk about Alexander Kerensky in here. Yes. Anyway, we're gonna go with Merrick because, guys, it's my game. Now, each of the 5 states, they're all based off of a kind of culture that expands there. So the Krita is Japanese-based, and they kind of get all samurai in that. All the way down to old-style samurai where you have rigid castes. Lao is kind of Chinese, in a bit of a warlord Chinese. So you're getting kind of a mix of modern Chinese and ancient ones. Steiner, they're a bit German. And they're like a bit German. Davion is kind of British, and Merrick is a funny mix. They are democratic because they're the oldest, so they have a bit of American flair to them, but they still have a bit of European flair. And there's always the big old joke that the Merricks never need to have any, worry about getting attacked from without because they have way too many battles from within. They're commonly at war with each other. That's the problem with them being that kind of democratic. But anyway, that doesn't matter. Sorry. I'm blathering on. This is going to be a long episode before you even start the game. Excuse me. Now, from noble birth, because though immigrants to the Augrian Reach, your family soon established a comfortable presence in a small backwater system on the edge of Oregon space. By the time you were born, your family had become the de facto ruling nobility of the system's only inhabited planet. You were the oldest child, heir to the family's titles and ancestral Battletech, and old Blackjack. It is where you met Raju Mastiff Montgomery, a veteran of the Succession Wars, whom your parents hired on for a season to train you as a mech warrior. Raju was a strict but capable teacher, and you quickly became a skilled pilot under his tutelage. It was an uneventful life. Interesting. Because what I've been seeing is there sometimes they'll give you some traits that will come into the fray future. Here we are. Until the day after your 16th birthday when you were exiled. You struck out on your own. This gives you a little bit more backstory. So your family was betrayed. I'll give you gunnery and guts. Your family died in an accident piloting in guts. Your family went bankrupt. You're struck out on your own. Or you were exiled. Alright. Let's see. This also depends on... See, piloting increases melee hit and also fixes stability and evasion movement. Tactics allows for effectiveness of called shots. Guts gives you more heat. And gunnery, of course, allows you for better chances with... I don't know. I like this one. I like the Betrayed. The gunnery and guts are two good things, because the guts allows you to help with heat. And it also improves your own maximum. So we're going to go with that. But out on your own, you fell into the life of a coalition soldier, a frontier pirate, a gladiator, an inner sphere mercenary, a freelancer, or a merchant guard. Well, you know, so basically you can double your gunnery, double the guts, or... You know, I like the piloting still. The merchant guard sounds good. Actually, no, we won't go piloting. What am I doing? We'll go with the gunnery. I meant gunnery. You can get gunnery from a gladiator too, so we'll do the gladiator. Actually, that's kind of fun. So the Solaris is the game world. It's this. It's basically where it's kind of like, well, it's rock'em sock'em robots. It's where people take their mechs and they go gladiator games. They just basically beat the snot out of each other. Until years later, you cross paths with Mastiff once again. You are a low-level champion, down on your luck and one bad fight away from the gutter, until Raju heard about you. He trekked all the way to Solaris to offer you passage back to the Reach, and a job in the House Arano Royal Guard. So it is that you find yourself reunited with your old mentor, preparing your ancestral blackjack for guard duty on the coronation day of the Lady Kamea Arano. Okay. Now, the Nick Murdo thing with me is that's the family name I always fell under when I played my with Merrick's characters. And this is cool. It does let you actually change the pronouns. See, it's not just they, he or she, it's they. And that doesn't even really change. I mean, it does change the pictures a little bit. So let's see what we're gonna go here. Like that. You can customize, looks like the hair color a little bit. I'm pretty sure they're going to change things a little bit in the future. You know, to be honest, I don't care about the picture really quickly. I think that one looks good. Or maybe that one. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Alright, so we were Merrick. So we have a gunnery 4, piloting 2, tactics 2, and a guts of 3. Okay. So we'll be able to fire pretty well, and we've got pretty decent for heat. The tactics and the piloting will be... I'll probably have to up those later. Of course, get an achievement for that, for starting the campaign. The High Lord, Tamati Arano II, is dead. The Alrigan Reach is left at an uncertain crossroads, once prosperous and is now a kingdom in decline, surrounded by powerful neighbors. Lord Santiago Espinosa, brother-in-law to the late High Lord, is convinced the slow-moving Council of Founding Houses must be dissolved. His proposed directive would conscript their house guard and centralize power under a single throne. That's good, that's good. However, the High Lord's heir, the noble Lady Kamea Arano, is determined to rebuild the Reach without transforming it into an authoritarian state. She refused to enact her uncle's directive, and has rebuked his vehement pleas to reconsider. On the morning of Lady Arano's ascension to the throne, her loyal captain of the guard, Raju Mastiff Montgomery, makes preparations to escort her safely to the coronation procession that awaits in Cordia City. Yeah, you know where this is going. So what we're probably going to do is this episode, we're probably just going to have all this opening stuff and then get into an actual combat. In fact, here we are. We're going to go through this tutorial combat and then go ahead and basically put a pin in and go on through the campaign from there. fact, I might put a pin in here and then just go straight into the tutorial match. Because we are getting a bit long. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to put a pin in here, and then we're going to continue next episode with a little bit of tutorial on how to pilot this stuff, and what goes on with the basically ill-fated coronation, and go from there. See how we get our mercenary campaign going, and join me, won't you? I hope you have a very excellent rest of your day, class. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Till next time, class dismissed.